I'm Linda K. Gifford. I have CPTSD. I'm a CSA survivor, and now I am a neurolinguistic practitioner. So, if you have CPTSD, especially if it's related to childhood sexual assault, you probably are a people pleaser, and you probably have never learned to ask for what you want. You probably don't even know what you want. You probably don't even know that asking for what you want is a thing. And I didn't. And once I figured that out, I was so surprised, because no longer did I have to live my life just trying to be equal to what I thought of the lowest amongst humans. You know, everything I ever did was just trying to be as good as everybody else, instead of being focused on what do I feel, what do I want, how am I. And so it leads to strings of bad choices, or at least choices that take you on a different path than the one that you really want to be on. So let's figure out how to stay on the path we really want to be on. And the only way you can do that is by asking for what you want, not just taking what's given in life. And whether you have CPTSD, PTSD, anything else or not, most people, and especially women, but also men, actually I'm going to throw that out. Forget that I said especially women, because I'm going to talk all about men too, and the way that women manipulate men, which doesn't help our cause any. Okay? Don't do that. We'll get to that. So anyway, asking for what you want, it starts with recognizing why you don't. So today we're going to talk a lot about why you don't, what's involved there, and move on tomorrow. I mean, we'll cross it all both days, but tomorrow get a little more focused on exactly methods to how to deal with it. I've got a really good one I wish I could show you today, but I've only got half an hour. So here's the deal. It's incredibly confusing to any human being, I think, any member of society, much less a person with childhood sexual assault related CPTSD, trying to understand love, sex, and intimacy, and how they fit and what they mean. And I have touched on this before, but we're going to expound today. And I have a whiteboard. Look, I have 2 of these left over from my pre-pandemic mall store. And then I realized it's backwards. Aren't you reading it backwards? How did they do that? Do they reverse the video afterwards? I'm new to this. Anyway, I guess I will be more referring to it than showing you. But I can use it to demonstrate the sex, love, and intimacy paradox, as I call it. And it's my personal paradox. And then I've been working with counselors and therapists for over 20 years on my own CPTSD and issues, and discovering I had it and how it affected me and what to do about it, which is why we're here, because the SPADES program is just simply me telling you what I do. And because my counselor said I should. She said I should go tell this to the world, and asked if she could share what I've been working on. So I'm like, sure. And now it's a book, and now it's a teaching program. And I founded Sweet Survivor in order to fund workshops and fund action and outreach groups. I want you to report right now, in brief, report to Thorn any suspicions you have regarding sex trafficking in your neck of the woods, okay? Because they can do cyber research without getting your neighbors in trouble if you were wrong. But please, don't overlook something. They say if you see something, say something. That's bullshit. Shoot. Try not to cuss so much. If you see something, do something. Call 911. And if you yourself need help on a very tangible level right now, advice right now, call RAINN. 1-800-656 or 673, I believe, but it's HOPE. 1-800-656-HOPE will get you to, it'll route you automatically to your closest regional center. What I am doing with Sweet Survivor is educating and advocating, running free workshops like these to work with people on changing. So, back to the top. If you want to ask for what you want, you have to figure out what you're doing to stop that from happening. And what you're doing is you're doing what everybody else wants you to do. You're people pleasing. You are, because of the fact, go back and review the shame week. There are two of these on shame 2 weeks ago. It's all on the YouTube channel. And I don't have time to get all into that, but I will touch on shame. Shame-based versus someone who just did something and they feel guilty. We have to touch on that to move on with asking for what you want. The reason people with CPTSD and CSA-related CPTSD have shut down their own desires is because they felt unsafe when they were children. The people that should have been their caregivers, that were their caregivers, I'm not necessarily saying your mom and dad. Mine were great. I love my mom and dad to pieces, and they loved me. What was happening was something they weren't looking for and didn't know about, but the person was still what I would consider someone who should have been a caregiver. My sister's husband should have been more of a role model, right? Not someone who looked at me as someone who could be used sexually as an adolescent and teen. And because that happened to me, I developed a sense of shame. I became shame-based. So, that being said, that's usually where all the videos take off and say, don't do that. And then you're left like me going, okay, now what? How do I do that? So that's where I'm coming in. Especially if you were sexually assaulted as a child. This is where we jump off of CPTSD, which can involve any kind of poverty, neglect, abandonment, traumatic events, wartime. You know, it doesn't have to be abuse from a parent to end up with CPTSD. But if you are a survivor of childhood sexual assault, then your specific kind of CPTSD leads to not only the relationship problems we see with anyone with CPTSD, but to the intimacy problems that are unique to someone whose first sexual experiences caused them to shut down. We talked a lot about this. We like this. Actually, I refer to myself as we a lot because I do have alters, I think. I don't know if that's why or if everybody does this. Let me know. Do you? In the comments or whatever you do. I find myself saying, we need to do this. We, when I'm talking out loud to myself or in my head, I say we and our, like there's more than one of me. And I do happen to have alters that I met. Not like severe going into Sybil, don't know who I am alters, but roles that I play. And that is part of what happens to a person who has had to dissociate to extreme levels. And with childhood sexual assault, the extremity of the dissociation is marked. Basically every study, and I've read a lot, from every source that talks about CPTSD always has like that starred footnote that says, if your CPTSD was related to childhood sexual assault, then this is like, these folks, they have it hard. They're really messed up. And it's like, thank you, I feel so much better now. But the thing is, I do feel so much better now because I took that to heart. I took that to heart, and I had been married and divorced 3 times at that point, and I'm like, as much as I hate to admit it, maybe it's not all them. Maybe I have some personal responsibility here. And while I still stand by my decisions that my choices weren't the best, for me, I now understand why I made them. And so I won't have to make them again. See what I'm saying? We can change. We can change. And the way to do that is figure out how you got here. So this first part, as we continue the first part of asking for what you want, you need to continue to understand why you don't. Why you don't. So when your caretakers are, or your environment is unsafe, you learn to rely on yourself. Whether you become a manipulator or you wall yourself off or you're the comedian. We talked about all those types last week. Go review that on YouTube in the P section. you wall off, where was I? You wall off significant areas, especially in sexuality, in intimate physical relationships. And this is not fair. This becomes not fair to partners. I'm going to talk to partners today and tomorrow a lot. And asking for what you want involves the people you're asking for it from, or not, as the case probably is, asking for it from. And your partner, you can't turn your partner into your shrink. Get a shrink, message me, join Facebook groups. I've got one. I moderate another one. I moderate healing from sexual assault. I just started, meaning I made the group a couple years ago, and I'm just like taking it seriously and utilizing the group page now for Sweet Survivor. So go there. We're going to get more active, and I want you to get more active on there. But intimacy and sex and love to a person who, let me draw on my handy dandy board. I've never done this before. Please forgive me, learning curve. Can you see that? Okay, so I see it like this. I was told that you're supposed to fall in love. Love is what matters. You can love puppies, you can love your mother, you can love humanity, you can love your enemies. There's a lot of ways to love, right? So then add in sex. Here, love. Sorry, I can't write backwards. Maybe I could try. Sex, right? And so now you've got love and sex. And sex is supposed to, you're taught usually, assuming you're from a monotheistic faith or whatever, you're probably taught that sex goes with love, right? And then there's intimacy, right? So now you got your intimacy here. Intimacy backwards for you. Sorry about that. So love, sex, and intimacy, right? There's not just one lap in the middle there. There's a bunch of sections. So if love is something that then leads to sex, and then sex is considered intimacy, and love has to involve intimacy or it's not true love, right? Then if you grew up with a distorted perception of sexuality, if you've been having sex unwittingly since you were a child to the point that you shut down your own sexual feelings, right? Then when you get to this, you think, oh, if I have sex, right? Boop. If I have sex, I have found love. You haven't. You might have. I hope you did. But this is an assumption you should not make. And it's backed up, unfortunately, by chemical processes in the human body that I will not go into right now, but whereby when you have sex with someone, you hormonally do make a link, and you're going to try to make excuses for them even if you don't have CPTSD, even if you usually make healthy decisions. So if you do have complex trauma, if you do have childhood sexual assault related complex trauma, when you're looking for love, you think that if someone has sex with you, that you found it. And then they walk away, right? Because when you got in there with them, saying you both had, I'm assuming you both had good intentions. I'm picking up on last week, on part 2 of last week. Now separating the past from the present. Assuming that this is not a romantic partner that's an asshole. Assuming that this is a good intention person, and so are you, right? So you feel some kind of life fit that leads you to the sex, right? And now you're supposed to be intimate because sex is intimacy. And you think this is love, so you're committed to the love right away because you had sex, so you love them. And you worry now if they love you or not. And then the intimacy becomes performance art to a CPTSD survivor with childhood sexual assault as their background. Because, as I was saying last week, when your first sexual experiences are not chosen. When you're a child and you start to feel sexual, I mean, you don't feel sexual anything. You don't even know what that is. You've got no definition. Someone starts playing with your body. You have physical sensations. You're mortified and disgusted. Whatever your situation is, so you go away. You go away. And we talked about the neurological processes there last week. Please go review that. Don't have time. But you literally have grown different types of neural connections because of your complex trauma at a time when your brain is still growing and forming. And every single human is a product, and this is science, right? And we're going to get to neuro-linguistic practicing backwards soon. The science shows that human brains, human people, grow until they're like 25 years old, give or take, right? They're still forming. So nurture, environmental stresses, these things aren't just anxiety producing. You can't just pill them away or drink or drug them away. These things have changed who you are. Not changed who you are, they literally created who you are. You're a product of everything you've been through. So the natural next step to get to the point that you can ask for what you want and recognize what you want and feel your own desires, the natural next step is to reprogram the parts of your mind that have the trauma locked, which is the amygdala, if you want to get specific. It is shown, if we put you under a brain scan and you have CPTSD of any form, the more severe it is, the more enlarged your amygdala is. And that is the fight or flight response center, right? So your amygdala gets, like, you go into fear, fight, flight, right? And you're dissociating, so you're not making memories in a cognitive hippocampus shape. I'm going to file this away and write it down and make ABC list. You know, you are just, this is where it is. But you can take it from there and put it over here. And that's what we do with neuro-linguistic programming. And that is why when I started talking to my own therapist over 2 years, almost 3 years ago now, about, you know, they keep talking about dissociation. Stop doing that. It's so bad. You need to not dissociate. I'm like, how about we tell people to revisualize their dissociation skills too, not just their trauma? How about use your dissociation skills that you are excellent at if you have CPTSD? So, yay us. We can dissociate. Use it for good, not evil, against yourself and others. Okay? And now we're going to get back to partners too pretty soon here. So the partners stick around. But using dissociation for good means that you're going to have to look at your brain. You're going to have to look at your experiences. And what people do then, you know, well-meaning people, victims, former victims who are survivors, want to be survivors, they get a therapist, they go to the doctor, they talk, they put them on drugs, they try this, they try that, they try anti-anxiety, they try, if you're me, Wellbutrin, Paxil, Zoloft, Effexor, something that starts with an L, each of which I could take like one pill of and went, this is insane, I don't want to do this, I don't want to get used to this feeling. And now science backs me up, because I was saying that a long time ago. CPTSD and PTSD, they are experiences that need to be processed properly once. And that's the beauty of the treatment. EMDR, many people, we'll talk more about that tomorrow, each treatment and what they actually are. But EMDR can work in one treatment. It has, for so many people claim, one treatment relieved a lifetime of self-deprecating anxiety, because it caused them to open up and release these. It's not that the memories are forgotten. That's where they try to get you in court. They're jumbled. It's all there and it's all very real, but it was too much for your child brain to handle. So you just didn't. You handled it well, actually. You disassociated, you put it away. So now what we're going to do is disassociate for good, not evil. Okay? And disassociate and dissociate, both being the same things. I interchange them. What you can do, and we're going to talk, this is really the essence phase, but I said we talk about every letter every day because they all wrap up together. It's just a lifestyle. Spades is a lifestyle. It's just something to run down that list to remember. The shame is not mine. Separate the past from the present. Ask for what you want. Don't just take what's given in life. Don't wait to feel okay to be okay. Educate and advocate. Spirit. Find yours. Right? So spirit. This list I run down in my mind whenever I need to, whenever I feel dysregulated, which we'll talk more about too. But probably tomorrow. What time is it? We'll see if we get there. You have to understand that if you have shut down your ability to respond to intimacy on a physical level, that even if you, like I was saying in the last one, even if you like me, you know, I didn't hate sex. I didn't not like sex. I thought I was pretty good at it, whatever. But still, the thoughts in my head were, you know, well, thoughts at all, like the kind with words. If you're doing it right, you're in a place that is so beautiful and wonderful that doesn't happen. And people with, people that live in this society, but especially people with CPTSD and childhood sexual assault related CPTSD, they sit there going, am I good enough? Am I as good as the last one? How do I measure up? And when you just try to do everything right, you get through to the end right. And what happens is, once that relationship moves on, you start losing interest in the physical side. But I guarantee you, your partner did not. Okay? Your partner did not. I don't know what accent that was. I do weird things like that. And here's where we're going to get to partners. I really want to make sure that I touch on partners today, and we're going to do more on that tomorrow. If you're the partner of someone with CPTSD, or you have it, and you have a partner that you give a goddamn about, and you don't want to leave, or worse yet, trap, because so many men I know are trapped. Don't trap your partner as your freaking shrink or counselor. There are people, I'm free, you know. There are people, there's RAINN, there's Medicaid covers counseling. I've used it during the pandemic. You've got to not put on your partner the responsibility of regulating you. You've got to regulate you. So no more excuses. If you're an excuse maker, then this is probably the end of the road for us. I am not the person you probably want to talk to. I want you to see what you're doing. Don't be ashamed of it. You're like you are, because what happened to you? Just like me, just like all of us. You're in a club of childhood sexual assault survivors that nobody wants to be in. So if you want to just be a bit victim and hurt forever, stick around and hopefully I'll change your mind. But if you're hell-bent on that, I'm not the place for you, because we get better here. We get better here. I have a record. I've got notches in my lipstick case. I do have a lipstick case. Want my lipstick case? Probably not. There's my lipstick case. Special content. Yeah, right there. I have learned, because I don't even wear makeup. Someone said I'm too white, or no, they said my makeup was too white. I'm like, dude, that's my skin. Sorry. L'Oreal Illuminator. I do use L'Oreal Illuminator sometimes. And color. And lipstick. This is your lipstick tip, and I'm going to cut it out because who cares, right? The shiny stuff, even if it looks dark in person, reflects away all the light. So you have to wear matte. Even a light color. This is like light pink. But it doesn't look like it on camera. So, just saying. Tips. Makeup tips from your CSA coach. I'm sure that's what you came here for. All right, back to partners. Your partner is not your shrink. Partner, you do not need to be a shrink. That being said, if you love a person with CPTSD, there are some things that you need to understand. In order for them to ask for what they want from you, you have to create a safe space for them to do that. Talking to partners now of childhood sexual assault survivors. You have to create a safe space. And by safe space, I mean you have to be authentic yourself. Because your CPTSD surviving partner, lover, has issues. But they love you, evidently. I'm assuming the best here, for best of intentions. So, rather than throwing the baby out with the bathwater, clean up the bathwater. And if your partner does not know that they need help in this area, you can suggest it in a loving way, not in a, when you're fighting, you're sick, you need help, you're screwed up because you got raped when you were a kid. I've had that. I've even had one of my husbands say, I bet you liked getting gang raped as a kid. Because he was mad. And he was looking for the worst thing to hurt me with. And it did. And I left definitively, finally, with that one. Even shame-based me, couldn't take that one. This is the part where I always say, if you need a minute, take a minute. I need a minute. It's hard to ask for what you want because you're afraid of getting hurt. You're afraid of letting people down. You're afraid of not being accepted. You spent your whole life being different from everyone else in your own mind, being not good enough, being ruined because someone took, I don't know, we're not going to use those words. I don't believe in virginity or taking and giving and all of that when it comes to sex. You were forced to do a sexual act and you didn't want to do it, and it was the first time you ever had it, so now you shut down, and by God, you found this person you love and they love you, and you're going to blow it. You might self-sabotage and blow this thing unless you get a grip. And the way to get a grip is to be selfish. Yeah, not selfless. You say, you get in tune with what feels good to you. We're going to get more deep into intimacy and these things tomorrow. But you need to be able to express to a person who is listening, partner, your job is to provide a safe space. To be an emotional support, but to never ever, and this is the hard thing to do, if you're a partner and you want to stick around, you're going to need to learn when someone with CPTSD gets dysregulated, which means their mind feels confused right now. They need to sort something out in their head, right? It's the jumbled stuff is winning, right, over the organized stuff. Because there's some points when, even though I love you, you love me, I can stop being rational because I'm lost in my own fears. I'm lost in my own shame. I'm lost in a triggering moment. And that, when that happens, most times you get in a fight with someone, and that's not helpful. Then you run away and you say, you're the bastard, and you blame it on them, when really it's the combination of the fact that they don't know you're dysregulated, because if you're like me, you didn't tell anybody that you were raped for years as a child. A, don't do that. It's kind of important. B, don't talk about it all the time. That's not important. Don't give them the play-by-play. They don't need CPTSD too. Okay, I'm laughing, but it's not funny. It's very serious, and I've seen good relationships, and I've seen good marriages, and because, in my opinion at least, looking at it from the outside, and especially now that I've gone through neuro-linguistic programming training, I'm just like, wow, I think that person has CPTSD, or I know they do, and I see that they are cutting off their partner, that they used all the tricks and all the whatever, but they didn't think of it that way when they got into the relationship. They know sex is part of a relationship, so the sex, love, intimacy loop kicks in, and you have sex, and then you think you created love, and you think you've checked the intimacy box, but you stop being able to feel over time because you've never really been receiving. You've only been giving. To be blunt, and We have to be blunt if we're going to get over childhood sexual assault, CPTSD. You're not going to be orgasmic if all you're thinking about is making the other person happy. You need to be able to separate yourself from your thought process to the point that your body and your partner's bodies are combining in a mental and it feels spiritual way. And if that's not happening, I say fix it or walk away. Then they're a friend. You do not have the right, CPTSD survivors, you do not have the right to turn your partner into a sexless friend therapist. Or worse yet, supporter, someone to keep a goddamn roof over your head. You did your job, you got your kid, you whatever. Now, marriage changes. Love changes. It's like, no, it doesn't. You deserve great orgasmic sex. And if you had it, you would never leave. If they were not abusive, if you loved each other, all other things being right, orgasmic sex will keep you happy and healthy every day of your life. And you should have it. I am a huge advocate of, I'm really sad. Like, I know several married couples that tell me, that one partner or the other has told me that they do not do sex anymore. And neither one of them seems happy, or one of them is cheating and the other one doesn't care, or they both are and no one cares. And it's like, you're living in a construct that you're accepting. And if you're really happy, great. But I don't think you are. I don't believe you. I don't believe you're happy. I don't. You need physical pleasure just to relieve the stress and of life. And you need physical pleasure and orgasmic experiences together in order for you to maintain your bond with your partner as the center of your life and your relationship. Otherwise, you've turned marriage into a construct. And I'm really, like, people think I hate marriage. And it's like, I don't hate marriage. I hate people who hijack marriage for selfish reasons. I hate weak people who hijack marriage and hide behind it when they don't love their not lover. The person you're married, I don't care if you're having sex, I don't care if it's man, woman, I don't care what your gender is, I don't care if there's 4 of you and you all love each other. This is for whoever. I'm just talking about real. It should be real. You deserve it to be real. So, I think I'm going to run long. I'm supposed to keep these under 30. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow. I have so much more to say. But for the sake of I'm not supposed to go over 30 and I'm actually like legit. Feels really good though. Neuro-linguistic practitioning. I'm going to tell you all about it tomorrow. And whether you talk to me or not, you can follow these principles and they will help you get better. We're going to work with them all the time here. So, mwah. Good day. I'm going to end the streams very ungracefully now, as I want to do. Oh, Linda K. Gifford was sponsored by Sweet Survivor. Yeah, I founded it, but we're still sponsored by it. We need your $5 monthly subscriptions. Go in the description, like and subscribe, ring the bell. All the stuff I'm supposed to say. Probably not supposed to say it like that, though, but it is important. It is. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, and watch those reels. Because they matter. They do. They actually, like, get us into, in front of more people so we can help more people. Bye. For real. For real. I'm going for real. All right. I hope that computer wasn't in front of this the whole time.